and the administration. I don't think it's in the interest of our administration here to be pleased against the benefit of the student. I don't think there will be such a scenario. But anytime I would choose a student, in any case, but I'm not looking forward to having friction between them, because I know when I speak to the administration, they understand the interest of a student. They understand that we can sit down on a round table and discuss. I don't expect a lot of friction. So when I say, for example, students maybe need to access their marks from here without having to necessarily travel to Mukono, I don't think the administrators would say, no, let them travel to Mukono because it pleases us. I don't think anyone is, but there are students missing classes here, having to go and hunt for marks in Mukono. So any extreme scenario that would occur where the administration needs to be pleased, I would stand on the side of the students. Any extreme scenario that yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so that will conclude our questions on the first category. We have appreciated, and we hope also the people that are the electorate that have to vote you have appreciated who you are and what you stand for. And any questions that they may have in clarification, we'll allow time for it later. So now we'll proceed to ask you a few questions on current affairs, which we know you're very well versed with. And the first question will go to you, Ruth Martha, because you're at the podium. Could you name the countries that are in the East African community?
Thank you. We have Uganda, my motherland, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, and Sudan.
Thank you very much. Again, the next question is still under current affairs. I'm sure you know very well that we have Ebola. Again, I'm sure you've seen that everywhere. And you're in an institution which can also get challenges, and we're about to see the schools have actually been cut short. The terms have been cut short. Students are home. Right now, they're home. Terms have been cut short. Now, as a leader, assuming tomorrow, after you've been given the mandate, you've been invited at the Minister of Health, and you're meeting the Minister of Education, the Minister of Health, and even the Prime Minister. What would you advise? What would you be your advice in relation to how to handle such pandemics in schools to ensure that there's a balanced education and also a right to health? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would recommend the Prime Minister and the Minister there to please sensitize, and this by employing, like bringing practitioners on board to sensitize, to educate the students at large what Ebola is, the effects of Ebola, like how to control it, like what kind of measures to put in place so that it doesn't spread. In this way, we are trying to curb it. We are having a win-win. They are teaching the students out there on how to have an unhealthy life, and the students too also continuing the education. And maybe they would go ahead and provide for medical services. Let me say the same, sanitization, maybe educate the school nurses there on how to treat the Ebola and how to go through it. So that's when say stay in school, because when you advocate for online studies, not most of the students out there have gadgets. Not all of them are going to be able to accommodate this kind of learning. Apparently, computer literacy, not everyone knows how to use a computer to study online. So the government has come on board, educate them, tell them, if you don't do this, then you're missing out on studying. If you don't do this, then you're missing out on this. Like educate them, basically.
Thank you very much, Ruth. As you take a breather, we shall have Zedekiah. As you take a breather, you may be called back to ask some more questions in relation to contemporary knowledge. Yes, same question. I will start with the last question that I asked Ruth, that you've been invited to the ministry and you're meeting the Minister of Education, the Minister of Health, and the Prime Minister, and they want you to advise them as a guild president from Uganda Christian University. They want you to advise them on how to handle Ebola as a pandemic in regard to institutions, keeping in mind the right to education as well as the right to health of the learners. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And Zedeka, maybe you can also, you're a medical student, you said?
Yeah, I'm a student
So-
of medicine.
Yes. So you could give us what you think is the medical perspective of that situation.
All right. Well, first of all, I think it comes on the background of the fact that government has been considering, locking down schools and sending students back home, and actually they are trying to do it for the lower studying levels. However, I think that is not a solution in itself, because where you are sending these students, you don't think that they are going to be stopped by their parents, quite impossible. But there is a lot of education, I agree, that is supposed to be done, educating people about how to be safe from the scourge of Ebola, how to avoid Ebola, and also how to notice maybe the symptoms of Ebola and the signs of Ebola, so that when someone has them, they can notify the health workers about it. So there should be a robust system that looks out for any cases that are suspected to be Ebola, and so that they can be handled well. So there should be a system of isolating them and making sure that they treat them if they are infected really, or that they monitor them and find out whether they're really infected with Ebola or not. So, and the other thing is contact tracing, which is being done, is very important. But ultimately, you realize that we have had Ebola so many times here in Uganda. So I would really challenge the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health on why Ebola, because this is very possible. Yet actually it would have been possible to vaccinate, especially places that we think are closer to the Democratic Republic of Congo, other places that are vulnerable to Ebola. So vaccination is very possible, and I think government is high time they consider it. So if I met the Prime Minister, the Minister of Health tomorrow, I would really ask them why they haven't considered it yet, because it's very viable. We shouldn't just continue locking down people, stopping business activity, the economy, and telling people to go home and study from there. We should consider the option of vaccination against Ebola, since we are in a place where Ebola is very much possible anytime.
It's a follow-up question, Zedekiah. Now, we have not yet vaccinated.
You have not yet vaccinated.
You'll agree with me.
You see, it's not good be looking at short-term solutions every time. Because if you say, let us lock down, let us solve the problem, and before you know it, Ebola strikes again, and then you consider the same, it means you have not learned. You have not learned anything. Look at a long-term solution. Because what I've talked about here, contact tracing, education, all those are being done. Maybe they can be done more, but then the ultimate solution is the vaccination. We don't want to see Ebola being a very serious issue again here in Uganda. Let it be there, because you cannot take away that virus, but let the people's immune systems be ready for it, okay, so that when it comes about, my body can be able to fight it, other than investing in short-term solutions, every time contacting our development partners, telling them, hey, we need something, we need some money because we have been hit by Ebola. That's not going to work that way. In fact, they should consider vaccination as early as yesterday.
Very good answering, but you have not yet answered my question, Zedekiah. This is what I'm asking. Today, we're looking at what is happening today. What would you advise?
Okay.
What would you advise today? Because yes, we know the long term is vaccination.
If you listen to me well,
yes.
First of all, I accepted that we need more education of the citizenry. You educate them about how to avoid, okay? Educate them how to avoid, put more contact tracing. If someone has been in Mubende, so do such a thing monitor them and see how they develop, maybe put in place structures where you're going to handle people is pay the people who are going to be working on these people, the contact cases, and also people who are infected, so that they're motivated to work. Because you have seen it, Uganda Medical Association saying our people cannot be dying just anyhow. Yet if you motivated them with some good pay, they could actually handle those cases very well. And also put in place PPEs. I'm talking about personal protective equipment, so that we do not have our doctors being infected and maybe infecting other people. Otherwise, what is being done is okay, just needs to be augmented, done more. But ultimately, I insist we should be vaccinating so that we don't have it next year.
Thank you very much.
Still a question for you, Zedekiah. So we've seen lockdowns, COVID, and we have seen very many of these events transferring to online portals. And even now we are having this debate online. So do you think that this online shift has affected education, has affected the system? And how do you think we could go around it? Do you think it's the best solution? How has the virtual affected everything?
Now, online activities, let me set on online learning, is not altogether bad, not altogether good. It is good in a way that if someone has failed to maybe make it to school in time, maybe it's raining heavily or there is a lot of traffic jam, they can be somewhere and follow their lecture. That is an advantage in it. So it's quite flexible. Maybe if a lecturer is also hampered by some situation and they cannot make it in time, we can have online teaching. And the other thing is that when, for example, you are online and learning online, there can be a record of the lecture. Sometimes lecturers will not allow you to record them while in class. But if I'm, for example, Moodle, I can be able to record the lecture and later I can refer to it. So that's a good advantage among other advantages. But the disadvantage about this is that you see physical presence of other individuals is not made very much possible. The other thing disadvantage that is in it, cost of broadband. Yeah, it's very high. In fact, I think in East Africa it's the highest. So if I have to incur costs every time on data in order to access online learning, it might not be very feasible for me as a learner and my parents. So it's quite difficult. And the other thing is that sometimes you cannot rely on the networks entirely, but also physical presence of students, lecturer interaction is important. Also student to student, peer-to-peer education is very important, but physically, yeah. So we need something that is integrated, can be both ways. So I don't say that online learning is bad altogether. I don't say it's good altogether. It just needs to be, we need to just judge in some situations. For example, I don't forget the fact that we have medical students in this campus. We have dental students in this campus. Some activities need practical presence. I know they have been trying to integrate and do some simulations on how you can do certain things online, maybe surgeries and such things, but still, sometimes they have to be in their laboratories. They need to be in the anatomy laboratory. They need to be in microbiology laboratory to understand better. So we have to integrate. It's good that we are moving forward. Maybe later when broadband is cheaper, when the networks in Uganda are much better, maybe we could go full swing into online studies. But for now, we can say, I would say, we are fine with both.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sechonda, before you take leave, just as we earlier on asked your colleague, just tell us the countries in the East African community.
Okay, yeah, actually, I think I remembered something when you asked about that, because I know I have some students who are from a country that was left out. So East African community has the following countries: Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, and recently the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nachiranda. We'll start from the last question that the moderator asked. Maybe she will ask it again in relation to the advantages and disadvantages of online. That is, if at all you need any further clarifications, but I think that's the question.
Thank you. As it's a new norm right now, we are trying to cope up with the norm. Ever since COVID came in, a lot of business has come into existence. The online studies, e-learning has also been put in place. So yes, basically online studies is good. One, for record keeping, time saving, and the only parent institution is by teaching us, because as I said earlier before, not all of us know how to operate these machines. Let them teach us how to operate it, because right now we are not only competing as Ugandans, but we are competing with other countries. Let me speak of China. China right now is only operating on technology. That's it. So the government, through different institutions, let me see Uganda Christian University, through our computer technician, we maybe get a day in class, take us through this, how certain stuff operates, the students. Then when it comes to apparently Uganda has tried to put money to extend, also giving them maybe solar when it comes to electricity, because most rural places, they maybe complain of electricity, by maybe providing them with the solar panels so that they charge their gadgets. Online studies does not only mean that you're going to study through the phone, no, but maybe also through the radio. I remember when COVID was there, the government, through different schools, tried to bring up teachers so that students were studying home through newspapers, through radios. And yes, we managed to cope it up. So right now, online is with us. We can't chase away online. We just have to find a way to cope up with it.
Ms. Ruth, you said that there needs to be a time set apart for the IT team to teach students how to use these gadgets. I believe online learning has been around for the past close to 2 years in UCU. So do you still think there's some students that are left behind that still need to be educated on how to access and use online platforms?
Thank you. As there is a library week at UCU, the library has been there, right? But we always have a library week whereby students go to the library and they're taught how maybe to search for the reports, maybe they're given enrollment keys to online libraries. So yes, there is, because not all of us are from these, should I say, the rich schools whereby they use computers. Some of us, like personally, down deep there in Kamuli, we don't have computers, you get? So I'm illiterate. I don't know how to operate. I don't know how to use a computer, you get? So we talk to these people, find a day through their class representative, find 2 hours with a projector, let them teach us. Apparently alphas change. Alphas real change. It was modified. Many students out there don't know how to start, find their coursework marks. To an extent, even lecturers themselves don't know how to upload these marks on alpha. So we all need this. We need to be educated.
Thank you very much, Ruth. I'm still with you, an interaction with you. I know you say the voice we serve, right? The voice we serve. And you know, it's an honor to become a guild president of Uganda Christian University. And I think that's the reason to why you came in for this position. Just, you can tell us 2 past guild presidents of Uganda Christian University, Kampala campus. And then you also tell us the structure of the guild government in Uganda Christian University.
Thank you. When I joined my year 1, I found Mark as the guild president, and we elected Namujehe Phoebe, so that the past, and maybe Masembe, the outgoing guild president.
Mark, my classmate?
Unfortunately, it was an online semester. I only got to know one name, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commonly known as Uncle Mark.
Thank you very much. But next time, I think you say His Excellency. I think because next time we shall call you High Excellency, right? So His Excellency Mark, His Excellency Namjehe, something like that. Okay. Any other question from?
Thank you. Can I show you a seat for now? And we'll have the Dekaya back. There was a question that he asked. Maybe you can start from there. Please take the podium.
Okay, to the audience, I think they have been following your questions, and I think you're not given the candidate opportunity to answer one of the questions.
Don't worry. We'll ask you yours, we'll ask her hers. Don't worry.
Fine.
Step by step,
Uh,
Mr. Sechonda.
Yes.
Could you kindly tell us the structure of the guild government that you seek to lead?
Okay, the structure of the guild cabinet that I seek to lead, I'll be heading the guild cabinet, but I'll be having a vice president, I'll be having a prime minister, I'll be having a deputy, I'll be having a finance minister, I'll be having education minister, the health minister, I'll be having an attorney general, I'll be having a cabinet secretary and their deputies, amongst others. If I've left any out, we can refer to the constitution.
So who heads the guild? Who is responsible for it on an administrative level?
Okay, the guild reports related to the DOSA, the Director of Students Affairs.
What was the question? The structure. Then the other is the past two guild presidents.
Well, the past
It's too simple, I know.
past two, okay, past two, there is Her Excellency Phoebe. You'll forgive me if I don't mention the other name, and Her Excellency Mark. Now, why I do not mention their full names is the fact that maybe I was unfortunate or fortunate, because first my school was under main, okay? But at least I can identify those, and I know the current one is His Excellency Masembe Owen.
Thank you very much. So we are going to this next segment of the questions, and this is why it's also very simple. It's why you're going to shine. We just need you to take us through your manifesto, so that you can tell your voters points of emphasis, and particularly we just need points that speak to students' affairs, and not of how you want to represent us in USA, how you want to become. No. We want pertinent points that speak to a student of Uganda Christian University, especially Kampala campus. And I'm very sure you know the problems that they face.
Okay, thank you very much. My manifesto, I said, is about the student affairs, as you've said. There's no reason why I would be talking about UNSA. But the first major point for which my campaign has been known and popularized is about free, safe, and adequate drinking water. As a person with a medical background, I know, and many people know, it's public knowledge, that 70% of our bodies are made up of water. Therefore, and the other thing is that we are in a country that is endowed with water resources, and in a Christian university, we know even the Bible emphasizes water. We all know the importance of water. It would be unfortunate to find students having to part with 1,000 shillings to buy a bottle of water. And we know that an average human being needs 2.5 liters of water a day. So I calculated and found out that in order for students here to have healthy lives, they would be spending over 400 million shillings on just drinking water a semester. I think that would be quite much. And I calculated it was amounting to about 11% of the GDP per capita income of Uganda. That's quite high. Therefore, I'm thinking that we should put in place more water purifiers. I know they put one at Eden Hostel where the residents are, but it shouldn't be about the residents only. It should also be about all the students who are students of Uganda Christian University, and also not just the other side at the residences, but also when they come here. I know there is a bit of water provision at the library, but that is very little. And you know, the spirit in which it was put was to cater for the people who go to read from the library. So we need actually more water. We shouldn't be spending a lot on water. I would like to see that at the end of my term of office, when you go to canteens to look for packaged drinking water, it would be very scarce there because we would have provided it. Now, the other thing is about funding for associations. Associations here are receiving very little money. When I looked into the budget of this year, I saw they were allocating 150,000 to each of the associations. For Christ's sake, what can 150,000 shillings do for an association? So we need to do more. Associations and students' initiatives. The other thing, guild canteens. We are in a setting where you can see we have only one canteen here. When you go to School of Dentistry, there is no canteen. When you go to the School of Medicine, there is only one canteen. Now, what's unfortunate about having one canteen is the monopolization of the market. once they see that they are the only people in the market, they will be charging exorbitantly on all that they sell because you have no to, because if you are considering going down to saying you have to border, something like that, and you'll be spending more. So we don't want to see such a thing. We need to round be offering that this good canteen is run by exchange hands year after year, something like that will be good to orient our people in business, but also to make sure that we provide a bit of competition to the only existing canteens, so that these common goods, food among students elaborated in chapter 3 of the Good Constitution. The other issue is about tuition support. We know very well that education is not supposed to come cheap, yeah, and our university charges quite a high amount of tuition. So education university is, I've already looked at the tuition structure and there is no return structure. But I need to be helped in case I get certain problems, because we have students here who lose parents maybe on the way, or our economy is very unpredictable. But people were hit by COVID arose, so we need to put in place into tuition fund. There's something called a guild fund, but it's very little for sure. If you give me something like 250,000 to add on my tuition, what if they're demanding me 2 million? How will it help me? Yet at the end of the day, before I do examinations, I should have covered everything. So we need to lobby for mechanisms, maybe for NGOs that give scholarships, to make sure that we actually increase the for students who are quite disadvantaged when it comes to tuition. But also, but the unfortunate bit is that here today in Kampala campus, beneficiaries, potential beneficiaries of the loan scheme are not benefiting. When you ask the administration why, they will tell you that, okay, when you ask the loan scheme people why, they'll be telling you that your university pays a lot of money. We cannot give all that money. We would be willing to give a portion of the money and then the students cover the other. However, we need to be sure that when we give you a portion of the money, then the student will cater for the other. And if we that helped, there is no signed memorandum of between the administration and the HEFSB, which is the board in charge of the loan scheme. So I think that is the next thing I would like for the students who are quite disadvantaged. It wouldn't look good on us, so we have to look on that and also look for other mechanisms of getting more funds. Why do I call it painless? I've already talked about it previously when you asked me. It is painful when I have to go from Kampala campus, Mukono campus, to look for that I worked for at Kampala campus. It's very painful. Maybe I don't even know Kampala and Mukono. I don't know who to start with. Maybe I will read and be told, and meanwhile I'm missing classes here or other. The office is centralized. And my question is, but also have other campuses like Kimbali, Arua, is that do people also travel from Arua to go to main campus to look for their marks? If they don't, why should we be reduced to that point? So we need decentralization of the marks office. We need to be accessing our marks at faculty level. It are the course units that we study, maybe for different courses, or the foundational course units, we should be able to access our marks with the faculties. I think that would be fair to all. Those are, but they don't know how. So I think we should access some financial institutions run these. That would be very important. Payroll being had by some let me say law firm. So we so you never one of the one thing is about.
Mr. Zedeka, kindly sum up your manifesto.
I know.
Interaction with you.
Okay, there is something about, if you say I summarize, let me hurry, and better health services. Among other things, because I'm not restricting myself to only these, because I know as a leader I have to be flexible. At some point there will be issues that will be arising, and I'll be able to handle them together with my cabinet. Thank you.
Zedeka, have given us a very impassioned narrative of your manifesto, all these things that you want to do. Previous governments worked on them, what's happening, why is there a very long list of things to do? Do you feel like they have failed? Have they fallen short? Why is there a very long list?
Everyone has a threshold of their...
And in addition to that, you have given indeed a very nice long list. Apart from the one of financial literacy, we're also interested in the how, because all guild presidents come and tell us, oh, these nice things, including buying buses, including so many things. At the end of the day, they leave government and there's nothing. We are interested in how.
Okay, if you really need the how, I also need the time. Do we agree? You'll give me the time?
No, you can just say on safe drinking water, I am going to do this.
Okay.
On a guild canteen, I will build a guild canteen.
I will start with the question that Ms. Jemima posed about how I look at the current cabinet, how they have worked, what they have achieved, maybe other previous cabinets. I cannot say that they have done nothing. They have done according to their abilities, I think, according to the prevailing situations. Like I mentioned about free and safe drinking water, they put a purifier at Eden Hostel. I recognize that, but that's not enough. It's not adequate for us here, and it's quite discriminates the non-residents, okay? So I think we need something which I just followed the very line that they used to implement that, but we did a bit of funding and lobbying. So the other thing is for associations. I've realized personally that 150,000 is quite not enough. Now the question, almost of these questions, you're going to tie them to one thing. I'm trying to preempt what you're going to ask me. Where is the money going to come from? Because it's the question of money, you see?
Actually, that's not our question, because we know UCU has money.
Okay, UCU has money, true. But the question is, when you look at the budget, all the cabinets that have gone out of office, they're declaring one thing: they're not well funded. That's the fact. So you can make research, even ask the current president. They're saying we're not well funded. And that's why I want to touch certain buttons about it. Because if I have funding, it's going to be easy for me to fund the associations. It's going to be easy for me to put in place purifiers for safe, adequate water. It's going to be very easy for me to add the tuition support from the guild, but also to look for other mechanisms. It's going to be very easy for me, again, to ensure that we have these seminars of financial literacy. So one thing I've noticed about the funding is one, you will be told that your budget should be equivalent to the number of people who are paid tuition by the time you pass it. And for me, I find it quite unfortunate and hard to understand. You cannot tell me that if by the time I pass my budget, 60 people have paid, therefore the money that's being contributed to the guild fund should take just 60 times the money and be given in my budget. What happens when they pay later? Let me give you an example about the national budget that we have. We pass the national budget usually in June, right? And when we pass it, we are not envisioning what we have already. We also envision what URA is going to collect later. Whether they collect it in May next year, when we're almost finalizing the financial year, that money should be put to work. Therefore, I'm going to be really challenging the administration to make sure that the money is availed, whether these people have paid yet or not. Or if at the point some people have not paid, when they pay, that money has to come so that it works on these issues, because that money is allocated to the students and it should work for them. So the other thing about how they have worked, I cannot fail to mention a few things that the current administration has achieved. They have worked on some things like the drug box at medical school. I've seen it. They introduced a grand round of education at medical school.
The question was not what have they done, but what in comparison to what they have done, why is there still much to be done?
Of course, you cannot do it all in a space of 1 year. And actually, I should also bring you alive to the fact that this cabinet quite started late because they had a rerun in the presidential election. So I think you cannot That's why I managed to be very specific on what I want to do. When I say about what I say, safer drinking water academics, I say I want the max office put in place. So I want to be very specific. Maybe they were not specific about their goals. They just said, we want to work on academics, we want to work on students' welfare, and it became very hard for them.
Mr. Sechondo, actually they were very specific because I moderated the same debate. And I know what you're talking about. That's where we.
Okay, maybe you could help me in a part of academics. What exactly they said they wanted to achieve? I could start there and tell you.
Now you want answers from the panel?
Because when the panel chooses to defend the side, they should come with evidence. But
okay,
anyway, that's not the deal. I want to say that more is going to come with the funding. You get a point. You stopped me from talking about some elements of my manifesto, which I want to talk about healthy services. Today, I appreciate we have 2 beds here in a sick bay. That's good. Okay, well, we have something, but it's not enough. Okay. And number 2, the drugs that we stock there, they're quite insufficient. When you tell me, for example, I met a student the other time, a lady in LLB3, was telling me they had rhinitis, okay, something that usually people call flu commonly, and they were being given cetirizine alone. Yet we know for a fact that these days we know very well that cetirizine, in its class of drug, which I don't want to mention, works very well with drugs like montelukast, which would be effective. So we need to stock more there.
You have a minute to sum up?
Yeah, to sum up,
I don't know if that's the point you want to end with, a cetirizine.
Well, what I want to end up with is that the people who are watching me there have seen my manifesto, they have seen how it's student-tied, and they appreciate it. So this was more to talk to you, people who have not heard about the manifesto, but they know better, and I've explained a lot to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's listen in from Miss Nachuranda. Okay, so the same question in relation to your manifesto, because we'd wish to listen in so that we can make choices as voters. I'm not meaning us, I'm meaning people who are watching and people who are listening in. So take us through your manifesto. I am sure you're going to shine in this.
Thank you. My manifesto is summed up in 8 points, and that includes our academics as one of the core reasons as to why we are here. We are here for academics at Uganda Christian University. This academics, I went ahead and broke it down. And apparently, for the previous years, we are all very aware that in the final year, if someone retakes in a paper, he or she is supposed to come back the following year to come and sit for that paper. But there is a policy, a recess policy. This policy looks at basically accommodating the finalists who are retaking that paper. Like, why would someone sit for a year when his friends are graduating? We believe if I'm put in that office, we table this down to the administrators, give them a way forward, tell them about this research policy, because we have seen it working in different institutions, and this is to the guild role to negotiate with the administrators, tell them, give these people a period of time, let them come back, do this paper, graduate with their friends. That's one. When it comes to...
So, per se, supplementary papers, right?
Yes. And because we have seen this working, whereby the current government, Honorable His Excellency Masembe, he advocated for a special exam for students who are chased out of paper. So I believe this research policy can also work, not only for these finalists that we have at hand, but also the coming years. It can be set as a precedent that's going to help out the coming years. Speaking of missing marks, I'm very sure there are students out there in year 4 who have never seen their total CGPA. Why? Because they are missing marks, and this all comes in from the loopholes. So we shall engage with administrators, so the Minister of Education, to keep a close eye with the lecturers and the tutors. For example, right now we are receiving our coursework results. When these results are released on Alpha, at least let the tutor take an extra mile, provide them with the list, like the coursework list. Because they were forbidden. So I would encourage the administrators through the Minister of Education to task these people to avail each and everyone's marks before the next or the following semester, because believe me or not, when this, for example, this semester, this is advanced semester, right? If advanced semester is done without your top marks, you're going to face real issues, because right now I'm seeing the finalists are being told to redo papers that they sat in year one. When it comes to still academics, we have Wi-Fi. Our Wi-Fi is not suitable for all of us. It accommodates a few students and it's not stable, but we are paying for all these services. So I believe through academics, as I told you right now, we are coping up with a norm. Everything is done online. The online libraries, why would you carry a bunch of books, yet you can do it online? So I believe the administrators, academics-wise, helping us. When I say Wi-Fi, not only at campus premises, but also at Eden, we are supposed to find, these services are supposed to find us at our inconvenience, like convenience moments whereby one is in bed but studying online. That's basically about academics. Then also comes to the 75%, as they say, every general rule has an exception. So I think this rule is the 75%. It's truly infringing on other people's rights, because we have working classes in here. Apparently we don't have the evening session for the year ones and the year two. They're expected to sit here, but these people are toiling down for their tuition. They need time to work off. At least a period should be given to them. Talk to lecturers. A 75% is too much. Not only that, but frustration, falling sick. All this has to be listened to. When it comes to welfare, apparently, I believe welfare covers our well-being at the university. And in my position, with the conjunction of the Law Society, I was able to lead the painting with the zebra crossing for our security. This zebra crossing is not only going to help students of UCU, but the entire Chisenyi community. Students are Eagle's Nest. So by an extent of doing this, not only this, but when it comes to our well-being here, our welfare, their printing machine, apparently only have one printing machine. So I believe if I'm put in that office, we will be able to negotiate with administrators when the building or the construction site is done, at least to avail us with more of these things, because we are caught up by time. When we try to print out this coursework, we're trying to beat the deadline. You know, there are some students who are, should I say, last minute students. They are doing things at last minute. So I believe the welfare, our academics, when it comes to sports, yes, the current government has really tried to empower on sports, but we need to more work on this. And apparently every class is supposed to pay 70,000 for the referee, 20,000 and the pitch, but we shouldn't be paying for these services. So we're supposed to talk to administrators, at least avail us, or pay an annual pitch fee, whereby students go and play maybe on the weekends after classes, because as you know, work without play makes Jack a dull boy. Not only that, but let me speak of our nativity, culture. We Africans, we love to embrace culture. We love culture. So if put in that office, I believe we can work on our culture, nativity, embrace our cultures, learn from different cultures. And in this way, the most important thing, tuition, the tuition support fund. But the university, through its financial aid, has really tried to cut off a little percentage. The work and study programs that have been put in place, the guild funding have all put in place. As the guild president put him in power tomorrow, we intend to look at some different activities like car washing, whereby we solicit, go to different companies. There are companies out there that are ready to render a hand, organizations out there that are ready to support school-going students, support them differently, give them a tuition through different activities. Maybe let me the way you say, lobbying for funds from different organizations. Talk to them, because trust me, you must be having a plan B on everything.
So Miss Ruth, we've listened to your manifesto, and it's a question we asked him. There's some common points that you share in your manifesto. There are things that the previous guild governments have talked about that they wanted to accomplish as well. So what's different this time? How are you going to do this? How are you going to achieve all the 8 points in your manifesto?
Thank you. As I said, you're supposed to have a plan B on everything. Yes, the guild budget is there, but you're not only looking at the guild budget and the money from the institution. being here, we are being trained to do different things. We are supposed to practice out there. Let us use our skills. Let us not focus here at the institution. Let us lobby for funds out there. Let us look for funds. Going through different companies, as I said, companies out there, they want to be reached out to. Talk to them. Talk to different law firms. Talk to different medical institutions out there. So, for example, apparently, there is a certain course unit, environmental law. It only has 2 books in the library. We can reach out to these firms, reach out to different authors, talk to them, at least to avail us with a copy of 1 book. This book is going to be brought back to the library, and it's going to help a number of students out there.
Thank you very much. In just 2 minutes, maybe you could also help us. This is from your manifesto still. You talked about 3 key points that I get. 1 is the recess policy, talking about supplementary exams. And 2, it's about missing marks, which Mr. Sechond also talked about. And then 3, you talked about the 75%. Keeping in mind, 1 is that this is a private institution, which particularly runs on students' fees. How will you be able to convince the university to be able to reduce again to reduce the 75%? Then 2, how are you going to, don't you think this is going to bring a Pandora's box, open a Pandora's box when you talk about supplementary exams, whereby students will not get serious, and then because they know they will have supplementary exams? And then lastly, how would you be able to convince the guild, the administration, and you kept using a push through the education ministry to ensure that marks are there, missing marks are there, because the earlier government did actually also say we are going to work on missing marks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As we all come from different backgrounds, parents out there are toiling, they are working very hard, that we have the best future, that we have, as you know, education is the key to success. They are working very hard for that. 1, about the recess policy, I standing here, or being elected as a guild president, I'm standing for the students' view. When we meet the administrators, of course we have to negotiate with them. We give them the advantages and disadvantages, but it beats, or it's so heartbreaking, after the 4 years, a student fails to graduate just because of 1 paper. This student is not dull, but frustration comes in. Something may come up along the way. They deserve a second chance because apparently, as you said, UCU has money and we are paying a lot. So it really it is heartbreaking to the parent out there after suffering for 4 years, paying for the student tuition, and the final semester, anything comes up. And
what will be your plan B? Because you kept telling us that you must have a plan B. Once the administration says no, we cannot handle that.
We negotiate with them. We talk to them.
Thank you very much.
Let's have one final question for you. Do you have a theme that's running through your campaign? Do you have a slogan? And what inspired it? If you do have one.
Thank you very much. After my senior 6, as I was looking for university, there is a picture of a university I had in my mind. And when through different researches, I got to land here, Uganda Christian University. My slogan is the voice we deserve. Why the voice that we deserve? I've been through different leadership positions throughout campus from my year 1. I've served in different capacity and I've been tested. The voice we deserve is you need someone to speak to administrators, someone to air out all your views, someone who's going to be the voice to the voiceless. Talk to them because personally, fine, I've got a little percentage of the university that I wanted when I was joining UCU, and that's why I've come here. That's why I came out to be the voice to the voiceless, to be a leader of action. And this has been showcased from the zebra crossing because security is key and being the voice that you deserve. So students out there, trust in Nachira and Ruth Martha with your vote. Come tomorrow to be your voice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ruth. We are going to call you for the final segment, and then we take leave. Mr. Sechonda. The same question in relation to your theme that is informing your campaign.
The theme for my campaign is Believe Again. I happened to apply to be nominated on the very last day. And it was not because, well, I did not have a lot of time. At first I thought, let me see which leaders are going to turn up, maybe come to me and maybe I'll see their visions and then I can back them and then maybe they become good president. But there was something that I saw. There was a reluctance in people coming up. There was also a reluctance among the voters. They did not expect a lot in the elections. They said, I think the guild leadership does not have much for us. I don't know why they weigh that. And I remember we've even seen it in the current campaign. It has not been as vibrant as it was in the previous campaign, not because people's moods are very low, but because expectations are lessened. They don't expect much from a guild leadership. So I came up with a theme, which is Believe Again. I told them there is a lot that the guild leadership can do for you. There is a lot that if we partner together, all of us students, and not just think when we vote someone into power, then they must do miracles for us. If we also seek accountability from them and pressurize them to give us what they promised, or if we partner with them to lobby from the administration, then we can get something out of them. So that's why I was telling them to rise and be hopeful again, to believe again that something good can come out of the guild leadership.
Okay, Mr. Zedekiah, you say you applied and you were nominated on the very last day.
Yeah, on the very last day.
So is it fair to say that this was last minute, this was not your plan?
It was not, it was a process that led into something at the end.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chanda. I think we are going in for maybe we would wish to know whether we have the questions from the audience. Would, in case there are any, we will be, as they're being compiled, if at all they are there, you're going in for the last segment whereby you're going to ask, each candidate you're going to ask, interact with each other. You can ask a question to your colleague, and again, maybe the rules of these questions that they must be polite questions. I have to emphasize that, and with a lot of decorum, a lot of courtesy is what we expect from the candidates. So we do not expect you to fight. Thank you very much. Again, we shall go as you picked. Number one, as you picked your papers at the beginning. So Ruth, you'll go first. You can ask 2 questions and brief questions. Then I think the order is that yes, it's okay. I think both, but I think the order is let her ask the questions and then you'll come on to respond to the questions. I think it should be proper that way. Well, let's not make it the American way where both candidates head on. Let's have questions asked, then we have the answers.
Thank you once again. Unfortunately, I don't have any question for him, but I just want to appreciate him. It takes courage for someone to stand here. It takes courage for someone to go in for this race. So I just want to appreciate Zedekiah for the courage of standing here.
Thank you very much. But also, that doesn't mean that Zedekiah will not ask you any question. And this has been appreciated. But he also didn't appreciate us for taking off time to also come and stand and sit here and listen from the manifesto. So thank you very much, Mr. Zedekiah. Come on board and feel free.
Should I think this is the last segment? Or
the second last, because we have questions
from the audience. Okay, so since candidate Martha did not ask me questions, I will reciprocate, but I'll be giving advice in case of who becomes good president. There are certain things that I think should be worked on better. So about the academics and
You're
about
giving the advice to her?
to her in
case she
just
wins.
in case, yes.
Okay.
So about the issue of academics and the attendance, it's a very vital point that she brings out. I think what we should be working on is ensuring that if somebody has a genuine reason for not attending a certain lecture, that lecture shouldn't be counted among the missed lectures. You'll find that at the end of the day, many people will have attained that percentage of attendance. The other thing is about the Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's a common point that we really have to work on. But at Eden, you realize we use EduRoam, and EduRoam is Wi-Fi facility for education institution, academic institutions. You'll find that Eden is a private place that our university hires. It might be hard to take EduRoam there. However, there are students that can actually provide Wi-Fi to fellow students at a little cost. I was asking the other time, could you pay for Wi-Fi at 1,000 a day when you come back in the evening? And the people said, okay, that would be better than nothing at all. Maybe we could start there, and at the end we could see, well, what happens later. Basically, and the supplementary examinations.
Are you advising her? Are you commenting? Are you explaining
I'm advising her about the supplementary exams.
Because we are worried that you're making another submission. Because
well, I'm using my time to
actually,
instead of asking questions.
You're actually advancing your submission. It was a question segment.
Unless my opponent is worried, so. But if you're the ones worried, I don't think.
Actually, she's worried. She's worried. We can even read it from
she's
her.
smiling. She's not worried. But anyway. Those are my pieces of advice, and I will not proceed more, but thank you so much. Okay. That's my advice. Okay.
Thank you very much for the advice. We do not know whether she will also advise you when you win. That one will be kept. Ruth, we do not know whether you will advise him. Maybe from our technicians, our technicians will tell us if at all we have any questions. I think our technicians, we have one question. The technicians are signaling that we have actually one question. I think we shall listen in from which that question is. Thank you very much. The technicians have showed one pertinent question, very pertinent indeed, and they're asking us in 2 minutes that each candidate should be able to tell us what are your plans for international students at Kampala campus. What are your plans for international students at Kampala campus? I think this is a pertinent question, and I really believe I'm inclined to believe with the student who is asking. So let's listen in from Sachondwa first. Then we can listen in from. Yeah.
Well, I think, did they mention the person who asked the question? I prefer to address them by the
No,
name.
it's just a voter.
Okay,
Anonymous.
the gentleman or lady who asked that question, it's a very pertinent question and I appreciate it. It's not like I do not have a plan. I don't think even my opponent does not have a plan, but it's because of the time that was limited. Of course, our manifestos have laid, let me talk about mine. All the issues I've talked about affect international students, as well as they affect domestic students. But doesn't mean that I'm ignoring the tribulations of international students, i.e., many of them have approached me and told me, you see, we pay more tuition than the domestic students. But at the end of the day, we face certain challenges. I told them I agree with you. When you come to Uganda, the reason why you charge more is because I think the institution has to look at to make sure that you stay safe in Uganda. Your documents are well looked at. I mean, when you use travel documents, you don't need to be bothered every time. Go to the High Commission, go to the embassy, certain things of that kind. But they tell me actually they find themselves very many times trekking going to the embassies and High Commissions to answer questions about their residence in Uganda. And it was a major problem when for those who were caught here in the lockdown. So I think we just need to tap the administration a little bit to wake up about that. So to make sure that that extra money that international students pay is accounted for. But also, our international students here at Kampala campus have been less involved in activities of other international students as we see in main campus. So I think their chapter here needs more, it is to be reinvigorated so that actually they can show and be fine with their stay here. But also, like Candidate Martha was talking about a cultural gala, something like that, where we can exhibit other international cultures. It will be a good platform for them to feel at home, at least to remember, to recall their cultures back at home. Such activities will be good for them. So it's not all hopeless for international students. I have a plan for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe this one is directed to you.
Me specifically?
Yes, you specifically from a student online, and is carefully listening in saying that we have been steadily following the presidential debate. I am a class representative in one of the evening classes. My question goes to Mr. Zedekiah. I have carefully noted your manifesto, sir. But in this, I have not heard you mentioning anything in regards to evening students. We also have number of challenges, but as a presidential candidate, you have never bothered to come and address us. This is one of the maybe your supporters.
Oh, okay. I thank him for his support, or her. I think I've been to that class, but you see, we are busy people here. I think maybe on the particular days when I went there, maybe she happened to be having a busy schedule and that did not allow her to come there. But it's not like I don't have answers for the evening students. I care much about certain things. I care about the security. I care about the fact that they have a lot of physical lessons that they always have to be coming here. I care about the fact. So like I was saying, we have to integrate and make sure maybe sometimes they have online learning in the comfort of their places, because most of them are evening students because they work. They have to pay their tuition and also attend class. It's very tiresome. You can just tell. Go work, then come and attend lectures. But also the security here is very important, that when you're coming here, going home, it's all safe. So security is a very important thing. Any other issues that they will be having, my office will be open, the office of the good president. I'll address them. Okay,
this is also to you, Zach. The issue of missing marks is really worrying. We have year 4s that haven't paid tuition with huge balances, and their worry is that the university refusing them to sit for their final papers. How are the candidates going to address this if they went through? I think this is for both. I think let's first listen in from Ruth, and then as we take a breather, you will come last to answer that. You start with the question of student affairs, international students, and then you zero down to this question of missing marks and huge balances of students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Regarding my manifesto, the cultural galas, as I say, this is to bring back our nativity from where we are. These international students will also be able to showcase or bring out their cultural values from different countries. Let's come together, more frequent gatherings together as one, so to associate. Remember, at the end of the day, we are one UCU, we are all together as one. Putting that aside, I think, in my view, if put into office, we talk to the administrators at least to find mechanable ways for visa challenges. I remember back then when I was, of course, in my secondary, I used to have these international students, but there was an office that would basically handle their tickets back home. So we talked to administrators at least to find suitable means at a small or a certain fee for these students, because I was able to interact with some of them, and it beats my understanding. He's currently now in year 4, and he has never gone back to his home place. Why? Because the prices are costly. So we table it down, the administrators, we talk to them to find suitable means of at least helping out these students.
All right, thank you very much. The other question is, have you asked the second one?
Let me repeat the question for your clarity. The second question that he already read earlier, I think this is from Zach. The issue of missing marks is really worrying. We have year fours that haven't paid tuition with huge balances, and their worry is the university refusing them to sit for their final papers. How are the candidates going to address this if they went through?
Okay, I covered the missing marks under the academic point in my manifesto, whereby we table the administrators to keep a keen eye on the lecturers and the tutors, to be availing these marks on alpha, and to keep a close eye on the PDF so that we solve the issue of missing marks once and forever, because it's so heartbreaking going back for holidays without marks. And apparently, some parents may think that you're not serious about your education. Then too, about the university refusing the finalist seat for exams. I believe if we negotiate with them, then we can come out with simpler means. Let me say, allow the candidates to do exams, but hold their transcript until when the balance is accomplished. Because trust me, you can't move away freely with your transcript if you haven't finished exams. So let the candidates sit, let them go work and bring back. Regardless, as I said, we have plan B. That's why I spoke of the guild organized activities, the car wash, talking to different companies, looking for funds to help out our students, even in our fellow classes, because we were able to raise a certain amount of tuition to help out and pull up a certain student who was not going to sit for her paper. So we can borrow all these ideas in our classes through the DOSA's office. We talk to him, someone to keep a keen eye on this money being solicited in classes, in different classes, so that we push a brother or a sister to graduate, because the tent is beautiful.
Thank you very much. Let's listen. Let's have candidate Zedekiah. There is a question which has been asked. Maybe I will first confirm. Was the answer is a no, I will not ask the question. Is it true that you have any other engagement at Makerere?
I think you should pose the question entirely. Don't ask whether it's a no or yes. But let me first answer this question first, because
I don't know which one you're answering.
Let me first answer the question about the fact that people who are almost completing have burdens of tuition, okay? Because it concerns me a lot. Let me give you a bit of my history. I told you that I'm an advocate for the poor man's education, poor person's education. I would be in my 5th year right now. I'm in my 4th year medicine, because I was hampered by tuition and I had to sit down for a full year. When I came back, I found even some of my marks disorganized here and there. I know the challenges of someone who cannot have full tuition. So I have those people at heart. That's why I mentioned here that we have to put in place robust mechanisms of looking for tuition, make sure that we solve the tuition challenges. So I think there's no better person who can do that for you and the guild president. Now, the other thing about missing marks has already been discussed about making sure that we have a decentralized office for marks. But the other thing, there should be a provision for people to complete their education. For sure, if I'm just in my final year, almost completing, and then I'm almost seeing the graduation, and you tell me you're not going to graduate, it hurts. And let me tell you what happens when you go back home and sit down for 1 year looking for money. You might not get the money. That's the first thing. But second thing, you can be depressed and end up doing many things that you wouldn't want to do. But the other thing, you can lose interest in education. So that I need to address these issues to the university, because nobody will sit, complete, not get a transcript, and then go back and be comfortable. They will make sure they raise the money and pay slowly by slowly and complete. So same idea, it has to apply.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, I will ask my question because I am moderating. My work is to make sure we have a smooth interaction per se. It's not a winning battle. So this is my question again.
Your question, okay, I'm sorry to say, but I prefer the question of the person whoever asked is not edited. It should be put the way it was put.
It's important to sieve. It's important because if at all someone brings out anything, we cannot just bring it out.
We're going to make them two questions. Okay, let me have the question.
Yes, please. So my question will still remain, whether you have another engagement at Makerere or not. That's the first.
What sort of engagement?
Do you have any activities? Do you have any course that you do at Makerere or not? It's a no or yes.
I prefer a full question. I will insist on having a full question. If it it cannot be provided, then it will mean that you have not brought forward the question asked by the audience. And I don't know, it will be you to answer that.
It's okay.
Okay.
The question goes to Zedekiah. Throughout your campaign trail, you have always boasted of doing 2 courses. You say you are a student of medicine at UCU and a student of law at Makerere University. My worry is how you will be able to balance your personal interests as a Makerere student and as a guild president of Uganda Christian University.
That's a beautiful question by whoever has asked it. I don't see any why we were really not presenting the question. First of all, even if there are 3 courses being done by any individual, even if it were not me, it doesn't contravene any laws. But number 2, I want to mention that when we grow up, we have many things we do. You find that my dear daughter has a family, has a business, has a job here, has many other engagements. They don't stop him from doing what he's supposed to do. So whether it's in Ndeje or Makerere that have another course, I am committed to my studies as a student of Uganda Christian University. Okay. The other thing is about how will you handle all of them. For sure, I usually cut my coat according to my cloth, my abilities. Where they are strained, I will not push much more. It's the reason why I'm not married yet, because I think I'm meant to handle that right now. But whatever I'm handling right now, including the guild presidency, which I think I'm going to be running in not very many days from now, I can handle it. Thank you.
Maybe for me, this is a follow-up question. I was in the guild, no doubt. I was in the guild. I think the student was in relation to balancing your interest. That is the question. That's the gist of the question.
I'll answer it this way. When you, for example, you are, let me say, when I talk about free, safe, and adequate drinking water, is anyone suspecting that I'm going to draw the finances that are supposed to do that for UCU and take them elsewhere, to my home or elsewhere? So you realize I've not answered that question the way you would want me to answer it, but I know.
No, it's not me who wants you to answer the question.
Okay, yeah, the way you wish, because I know the person who has asked has really understood. So to summarize the answer, I don't contravene any laws. I cut my coat according to my cloth, and I'm very able. Whatever I'm not able to do, I will not do. What I'm able to do, I will do. And the other thing is that, well, I encourage actually people to do more than just education in UCU, to do many other things out there. It will make them better people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Then we are going to have parting shots in 1 minute. Just tell us your parting shots, and then we shall take leave. Yes, we shall start with Ruth, and then we end with Mr. Sechondra.
Gallant intellectuals, the UCU fraternity, sons and daughters of the mighty institution, come tomorrow, 22nd November. Vote for the voice that you deserve. Vote for someone who's going to air out your views. Vote for someone who is going to table down your problems, administrators. Yes, this manifesto is there. We may be able to accomplish some of it, but the points that will be able to be accomplished, we believe we are sowing a seed to the fertile ground. These are going to be used for future reference. The coming guild after us will be able to pick a leaf from this, and trust me, our institution is going to be different, as it says, a center of excellency in that of Africa. So come tomorrow, vote for Natira and Ruth Martha. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Thank you very much. Let's listen in from Mr. Sechonda in 1 minute.
First of all, I want to thank our moderators for the great job you have done. I want to thank the Electoral Commission for the duty they have done and for bearing with us, of course. But also I want to thank the colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, members of the constituent schools of UCU Kampala campus, especially those who have spared their precious time to watch this debate. I also want to say now it's almost time to decide if you were undecided. If you do not believe, it's time for you to believe. Tomorrow is the voting day. If you have not worked on ensuring that your Alpha account is ready for voting, please do so, because tomorrow it might be late. And let us rise very early and vote. My manifesto is clear. simple, but when we achieve it, it's going to put in place very fundamental changes that will be not only for our good, but also for the good of the posterity of this campus of ours. Therefore, I encourage you to believe again, vote for me as your guild president for the year 2022, 2023, and I believe you will not regret that decision. Good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the candidates. We really thank you so much for the first of all, for the courage to take up the position. So we are going to listen in a minute from the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who will guide us on what we are going to do, how it is going to run tomorrow, which is very, very important in choosing our leaders of the next 1 year. So let's listen in from the chairperson, Electoral Commission, who will thereafter invite our dear Dosa to give closing remarks. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, our moderators. Good afternoon, all of us. Yeah, I would like to thank first the moderators, Mr. Wambale and Ms. Jemima. Thanks for turning up and not letting us down. Another thing, I would like to thank our candidates, that's Natural and Ruth Martha, and such one, that's Zedekia, for turning up and for making this debate a success. Thank you very much. And the team I work with, thank you very much, plus our returning officer. So this is a program we are going to follow tomorrow within a minute. Tomorrow, we are starting our voting from 9 a.m. up to 5 p.m. And the voting is going to be within the campus compound. We are going to provide things which are going to be used for voting. And another polling station is going to be at the medical school, as they're going to be provided. So I request that you please turn up with your access numbers and everything. The rest is going to be provided by our team, technical team, which is going to be around. So I request that you turn up, and remember, you can have a say on any government when you take a part to within elections, or if you carry out your civic right of voting. But in case you don't turn up, please, even you're not entitled to talk about the government which will be in power. That's the thing we are supposed to follow. You turn up, you vote, then after voting, you can have a catalyst to talk about the new government and its ministers within. So come tomorrow, starting 9 p.m. up to 5 p.m., please. It's going to be the proper time, as is provided within our constitution. Come and carry out your civic right of voting within time, and have new leaders within our university. Thank you very much. Let me request the returning officer to have a concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you very much, the Chairperson Electoral Commission. Let me just add my voice to the Chairperson Electoral Commission's voice to appreciate our moderators, Council Wambale Wilberforce and the Council Jemima Opio. Thank you very much for the time. We are so proud of you as a university when you go outside there and you represent us. And that's why we call you back if we have such activities, and more so since you participated in guild leadership. And also I would like to add my voice still to appreciate our candidates that have been presenting before the students community. You have proven that both of you are competent. Now I would like to add my voice still to the voice of the Chairperson Electoral Commission. I would like to invite all the students of Uganda Christian University Kampala campus to come and exercise your civic rights. Come and vote the candidates of your choice. Now before us, we have the presidential candidates that have participated in the presidential debate. However, there are other candidates that are vying for MP positions. And for that reason, those that are not here, those MP positions that you've not seen here, they're also there. They have been campaigning. So when you come over to vote, please come and vote even the MP candidates, the presidential candidates and the MP candidates, because then when they combine together, they make a full guilty government. Now, I would like to finally just state that for those that have not updated their Alpha accounts, there is still time. When you open your Alpha account, you will see a pop-up message that prompts you, that requires you to update with the latest credentials for your Alpha account. I would like to invite all the students here at Kampala campus that are going to participate in tomorrow's voting, that whereas we shall have the technical team around, it's very paramount that we take this time between now and tomorrow to update our Alpha account, because then it will not be possible for you to update it on the voting day. Now that will give you a chance to be able to participate in the electoral process without any interference. So ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up this, I want to also appreciate you, the audience, the students community, for taking time to follow this live broadcast of the presidential debate. Thank you so much. We've seen many of you have been responding, you've been giving positive comments, and that's very good of you, our students. We are so proud of you that when we have such activities, you take time and follow them, and also you are part and parcel of them. That means you actually love guild leadership here at Kampala campus. I wish to stop here, and I wish to state that may God bless you as you choose the leaders of your choice come tomorrow. Alpha and Omega, God bless you.